Hey there. Today we're going to talk about mastering grind size for making better coffee at home. Grind size refers to the coarseness or fineness of the coffee particles you achieve when you're grinding coffee. Different grind sizes will have different amounts of surface area. So a finely ground coffee is going to have more surface area overall, and a coarsely ground coffee is going to have less. So again, when you expose to water, something like this, if you're grinding really fine, but you're not using it in the right method, you might end up with coffee that can be kind of bitter. On the flip side, if you're grinding too coarse for your brew method, you could have coffee that's thin or sometimes a little bit papery. So let's dive a bit deeper and talk about the samples I have in front of me. First up, we have a finely ground sample. The fine grind is going to be sort of like if you had flour at home, just like I have on this piece of paper here. It's 0.2 to 0.4 millimeters, and that's going to be great if you're making espresso at home or brewing under pressure. Next, I have a medium fine grind. It's 0.5 to 0.7 millimeters. And that is going to be like table salt. So something you could shake out of a shaker. So it's still pretty fine. It's going to be great if you're doing an AeroPress, a siphon, and some of our smaller format pour overs. Moving along to our medium grind here. That is going to be sort of like kosher salt. You can see the sample just here on the paper. It's 0.8 to 1 millimeters. So that is great if you like to do something like a coffee maker at home, like the Bonavita drip coffee. Or a larger format pour over. Moving on from that, we have medium coarse grind. Medium coarse grind is going to be 1.1 to 1.3 millimeters, and that is sort of like this sea salt. It's a coarser sea salt, but you can kind of see how the particle size gets larger. That's great if you love to do an immersion style brew, so something like a French press. And finally, we have a coarse ground sample. So the coarse grind is 1.4 to 1.6 millimeters. It's sort of like this rock salt sample here, and that is great if you love to do cold brew and you're not using any heat to extract the flavor from your coffee. So those are great examples. I do love the salt because it's super easy to replicate and achieve at home. But if you like to be a little more objective, or you're looking to be a little more scientific with your coffee grinding, there's this one other option I want to present. It is called the Brewer, and it's made by Kruve. The Brewer has these awesome little holes right along the top here, and those are in microns. A micron is just 1/1000th of a millimeter, so it does correspond to the sizes I mentioned earlier. And you can actually hold that up to your sample. So if you're grinding coffee at home, you kind of want to see where it falls. You hold that up to your Brewer, and the holes will tell you how large your particles are. They also give you this awesome little magnet, and that is going to give you some nice ranges of where you want to be grinding for all your different brew methods. So it's not too expensive. It doesn't take up a lot of room in your coffee cabinet. It's a really great way, like I said, to get a little more objective than just using the salt. The next thing you're definitely going to need to achieve any of these grind sizes is going to be a burr grinder. Okay, so a burr grinder like this Baratza Encore has two plates with metal teeth that grind up against each other, and that is going to help you get a really even particle distribution. And that means you don't end up with a bunch of bigger boulders and smaller fines, right? We've probably all had coffee that's been ground on a blade grinder like this one where it just spins, and that's just going to chop up your coffee really roughly. If you see the sample here, you can see I have everything from my coarse all the way down to my fine. So that really messes with getting an even extraction from your coffee. You're not exactly going to get optimal taste with a blade grinder. So if you want something to upgrade and that's what you're working with, go ahead, put a burr grinder on your birthday gift list, and then you can upgrade that. Between that, the salts, and the Brewer, I think you have some things that can help you level up your grinding at home. So get out there and brew some better coffee. Cheers.